This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Potholes made transport services difficult at ATS settlement. Department of Personal Management stands clear on public office appointments. And Trukai supports drought victims. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Residents at ATS have raised concerns on the ongoing water problems as well as the continued power outage that they continue to face. Community leaders are calling on local member John Cowper to come down to the community and help fix these issues.
While power and electricity is just one of the many problems residents at ATS continue to face, one of their main concern is water. Finding water has been a continued challenge for the residents in the area. Each morning and afternoon, finding water is a continued challenge where men, women and children have to find water for cooking, drinking and bathing. According to community leaders, there are no proper water supply into the area and finding water has been difficult where people in the area have to find water and carry containers to get water.
The big problem is water problem, the community. So leaders will try best blow go looking water PNG los 20 slab. But still me plus to stop every blow water.
Mamane said these are day-to-day needs that people need, that they struggle with every day. He said water is the most common and most important need.
Good plus like me got a member, noticed member and stuff, but I mean talk me no say married or no God. Not this place to blow water or community. Where work affecting platinum and Mary.
Mamane is calling on the local member to come into the area and help assist the residents there. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
Patients seeking dental treatment at the Kiunga District Hospital in Northfly, Western Province, have not been receiving proper treatment due to lack of manpower. This has resulted in patients suffering from toothache problems, struggling to access dental services in Kiunga.
For over a decade and to date, patients have been going to the hospital but have been advised there are no dental services. This is because there is no dental specialist in Kiunga. The last dentistry service provided was in 2018. Since then, the dental unit at the hospital has been closed. The Kiunga District Hospital Management Team clarified that all dental equipment are available for dental treatment. But no dentist at the hospital has been the major hindrance to the delivery of dental services. As this issue continues, patients have been given open referrals to get treatment at the Tabubil Hospital in Star Mountain's local level government within Northfly District. Several requests made by the hospital management team has not been responded quickly. Therefore, the Kiunga District Hospital is still waiting for a dentist. Patients in Kiunga have expressed it is too expensive for them to seek services at the hospital in Tabubil. Hence, this prolonged issue needs fixing. They are now calling on the Western Provincial Health Authority and the Fly River Provincial Government to work together to address this issue so that effective dental services can be provided at the district hospital in Kiunga. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
The Christian Training Center in Gogodala local level government in the Delta Fly district will see its transformation from a poor rundown school to a refurbished one. This will be made possible by the Delta Fly District Authority. A feasibility study has been done on site to make plans for the development of the school. This is the Christian Training Center in Mapodo, Gogodala LLG. It was initially known as the Gogodala Bible School. Now it is English Bible School. This rundown facility still provides the avenue for students to come in and learn on a daily basis. The establishment of the school is dated back in 1962 by the Evangelical Church. The classrooms are very old and not quite the learning environment for students. This is the library. Due to the building infrastructure, the administration could not put more bookshelves in fear of the books collapsing and causing accidents to the students. The school principal, Fifias Fitim, says each of the divisions of the school is not a better working environment for them. She says as the principal, it is a major challenge.
Working in such place in the condemned building, it's a challenge. And there is also a risk, like risk of staff and students. For example, during wet season, we suspend classes. We don't have classes. We are afraid of this building might collapse at any time and destroy any life at any time. Therefore, we held accountable if that such case happens.
Having dealt with that over the years, finally, the Delta Fly District Development Authority has stepped in to bring bigger development for the school with promising signs ahead. District Administrator Tony Siba has announced the development plans.
Technical guys at the saviors from Saras Limited will be helping us do the whole area. While we are going to start off with a school block, the classroom block, and then in future we will extend to the dormitories and staff houses and all that. So it's important that we get the whole boundary for the Bible schools.
On behalf of the school, Principal Fitim has acknowledged Delta Fly DDA.
I as a principal will take this time to appreciate the team who are here with us for such development, especially viewing the site, feasibility studies and all this. So we thank you.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News. Since the last time roads at ATS were fixed was almost 5 years ago. According to community leaders, bad road conditions have made life harder for residents there, especially for public road users who have to get to and from their homes on huge potholes to attend their day-to-day activities.
Almost taking up the entire road at ATS is a pothole that literally men, women and children use every day to get to and from ATS to attend to their daily activities on both foot and public transport such as taxi and buses. According to residents there and community leaders, the roads which were sealed by Dekenai Construction some 5 years ago have not been fixed properly, nor any roadwork has taken place since then. Today, road users and public transport continue to use the only road that leads into ATS community. Public servants, school students and community members use this main street every day.
They cannot become put him just a kota, but I'll be walking one plus siltas road. I'll be walking one plus siltas road. This lap road now I'm stop Tamloya. He come manta boy go the last block road and still bagarap here. Bagarap na all amas time mo youth bangi ya. Osa go no sa sana blab na lilig western na ba to ba panim lo side na. Oba kam no ba putin. Oba putin lab but still time rain sa pundan there. I'm road sa bagarap. So now you come on top you looking mas road is still stalo good condition.
Community leaders are calling on the local member to at least do something about the potholes.
You can see the road system here is just terrible. The water system here is terrible. Politicians get elected just before the elections. They come here and bring out some bit of restorations and water supply and roadworks. And when they get elected into parliament, they just forget about us.
They are hoping that local member John Kaupa will hear their grievances.
Meanwhile, for almost 2 decades, residents who settled at ATS say the settlement continues to expand as more and more settlers come into ATS. While they live in the fear of being evacuated, the leaders there are calling on the government to at least look into allocating proper land titles so that they do not live in fear of being evicted.
Eviction of residents in various areas of the city has become common or a norm, especially with land issues that's either taken up by settlers or through traditional means. One such area that has seen the number of settlers increase is ATS in the nation's capital. ATS block has seen people move into settlement for over 20 years now and continues to move in to date. Community leader Jepet Mamane said that having stayed at ATS for more than 20 years, the government needs to look into eviction issues and help allocate land titles to individual residents that has a block in the area. He said residents are living in fear and afraid to be evicted by the government anytime.
Now you look him. Black at this last 695 year have been eviction become an Oga man Mary Lapia and Molus now. Labla case work camp and 697 backside there. Eviction when them notice or give na or still go come lo court stop. Now plan now come out to 698 na 699. This like case to stop. So now man Mary and operate no stop. The next eviction come all by go away. Tini. No one planning where all people or leaders or even member blah John couple or come. Just say eviction come up, no bill come up. Talk to me, people. One and next move, me plan.
According to a long-time resident and former government employer who is now retired, Jerry Geno from Popondetta said the settlement is expanding every day with new settlers moving in to settle in the area.
Couple must come down. John couple must come down, look at me plan, or even governor to power spark up. M2 must come. I must come now look him how. Me play work or staff, so by asking more people. Like kissing Tintin Blow or Lilik Man Mary stop. So one and next Tintin Blow walking on me time eviction come up. Over Pani Nabla, Peria Blah. Go sit down in me plow. Or Bambla stop or send them. Time eviction come, Bambla start packing or something, or Bambla walk about to one map. Place where Bambla Pani Bambla must go.
He added that most of the people now moving into staying in settlements are mostly government workers who can't afford to live in the city.
Now, this place, most of Papua New Guineans are living here now. And most public servants, even in the senior public servants, they also live in here because of the high rate of rentals up in town, in the city. So many people, public servants, are staying here and going to work. Okay, apart from that's the first point. Second point is that nearly 80% of the informal sector and labor force, they all stay in the settlements. And ATS is one of them.
The leaders are hoping that land issues and entitlements can be something that NCDC can look into with the support of the local member. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
Drought-stricken community in Morobes Makam district receives support from Trukai Industries. Yuang village received 50 bales of 1 kg roots rice from the rice manufacturer as part of Trukai's corporate social responsibility.
Yuang village chief David Marafi says the drought began 7 months ago. This has greatly affected food supply for the villages as well as income generation.
San kai ogata crops osabi ko plani mo sa kakao coffee vanilla ogata tuwe kake garden tu noga so survive this time. So we pressed up for some I press from me pressed up na lo dispa asa so mi by now.
Marafi expressed that this experience is made harder because all the hamlets in the village are affected by the drought and extended families are unable to help each other. He says the only source of food for them after the drought was tapioca.
One people came to us in and tapioca. So all mama go garden tapioca so get up motion flour. So please simutasun kasih.
Mr. Marafi also confirms that water levels are low, but water supply at this time is still sufficient. He said that since the drought began, the only help received from the Morobe Provincial Disaster and Emergency Center were water containers for storing water. The Makam District Development Authority, however, had supplied 10 kg rice bags each for 2 families. To date, there has only been one death relating to the drought. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Department of Personnel Management does not make appointments for positions in public offices. They only facilitate the processes involved in making these appointments. These include secretaries to departments, provincial administrators, and CEOs or managing directors to statutory government organizations.
In a roundtable discussion with media representatives organized by the Department of Personnel Management today, speakers from the department highlighted key functions, policies, and objectives. It was heard during the discussions that the department facilitates the vacancies to executing the contracts of the appointees, guide them through their performances or KPIs, and hold them accountable if and when they do not perform to the position they occupy. Deputy Secretary for Executive Resourcing Services within the Department of Personnel Management, Vele Rawugamani, elaborates further.
Our key role is to protect the integrity of the process. And you will see in every process, there is foul play, there is people will be compromised. But our job is to protect the integrity of the process. They have to provide a short list of 3 names. And that short list of these 3 names comes to Minister for Public Service. He is the one that sponsors that to the National Executive Council.
Similarly so, the department only facilitates the processes involved in doing appointments. It was heard at the workshop that the National Executive Council makes these appointments and the department, through its secretary, announces the appointee. More so, the other presentations and discussions in today's media workshop involved public servants and the National Identification Card, public servants' entry into public service and retirement processes, amongst others. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea National Research Institute has launched its research report number 12 on dynamics of informal customary land transactions between landowners and migrants at Tarama Valley National Capital District.
The report found that informal land transactions allow migrants to access land for housing and bring temporary financial benefits to landowners. But informal transactions are not secure and have inherent potential for conflict between settlers and within landowner families. Present at the launching today were the member for Abau, Sep Pukatemu, Deputy Chief Magistrate Lands, Clifton Philip, Deputy Secretary for Customary Land, Director of the Institute, government officials, representatives from the private sector, and staff of NRI. The author of the report, Elizabeth Koppel, says, while landowners assume that they have ownership rights, settlers also assume permanency of settlement and make major investments by constructing homes or doing businesses. This is the key source of the ongoing conflict at Tarama Valley. Informal land transactions also have a negative impact on landowning families.
We have a situation where the landowners are living like settlers or squatters with rich neighbors who are employed, who are businessmen or women who can build themselves good houses.
The other author, Dr. Linus Digimbrina, reported that a major impact project planned by the government for implementation on customary land at Taroma Valley, known as the Taroma Urbanization Pilot Project in 2012, was abandoned when landowners sold or leased land informally to settlers before the project could be implemented. He says any intervention to bring a lasting solution for Taroma will be challenging as it needs to engage not just with landowners, but also with migrants and the investments they have made on the land.
Maybe not for Taroma now that we've come to this stage, but this must remain a lesson. Any policy in future must seriously engage with the local landowners. Appropriate packaging and wide dissemination of policies, same. Okay? That seriousness in engaging we need to make this paperwork, spell it out clearly.
The Deputy Chief Magistrate Lands, Clifton Philip, confirmed that no land disputes from Taroma Valley should come to the district court, but they have to follow customary land disputes mechanism.
We have 18 Provincial Land Disputes Committee. One of the key things under the Provincial Land Disputes Committee is that when there is an investor knocking at the door of a very good arable land and customary land disputes occur, that must come very quickly to the PLDC. The Provincial Land Disputes Committee must very quickly arrest that matter, put it through the land dispute mediation process very quickly, appoint ad hoc mediators, dispatch them to that location, deal with the outcome, provide a certificate to the investor and tell the investor that we have made a determination, these are the landowners, you deal with the landowners.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, member for Abao Open Sepu Katemu confirmed that they will find a lasting solution to conflicts associated with land. He made his statement after the authors of the National Research Institute Research Report Number 12 presented the key findings, challenges and recommendations today.
Sepu Katemu highlighted that the key message from the research was we don't have established customary institutional processes to manage the dynamic that they have discovered in the research.
The law has been right, the institutional processes have been developed, that if you spend 50,000 kina on a 50 by 50 meter piece of land, that is your long-term lease. The land ownership still belongs to the people.
There is misunderstanding on the customary law. He says government need to develop some processes in order to manage the issue of customary land. He confirmed that as a government, they have not done enough awareness.
The clans missed out. Only the father makes the decisions. The land is allocated twice or three times to somebody who has purchased it and at that price. They think that they own the land, but the law tells us that you cannot sell customary land to anybody.
He stated that based on two principles, they can bring a lasting solution to the land dispute issue.
We can actually manage this difficult issue of Taurama land a lot better, and I think there is a solution to it. And I want the National Research Institute to be part of that solution, because I am a passionate believer in research and development. I am a strong advocate for developing nations like Papua New Guinea. For us to move forward, we must make key investments in public infrastructure, key investments in strengthening state institutions, and the last one is key investment in innovativeness.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Special Envoy for Pacific Island Countries Affairs of the Chinese government, Qian Bo, is in the country for a 2-day visit, and he has expressed China's great attachment to developing a relation with PNG and stands ready to work with PNG government to implement the understanding reached between the two countries. The bilateral meet was held at the major Chinese-funded project Butuka Academy, opened in 2018 by the visiting Chinese president.
Arriving at the Butuka Academy this morning, the Chinese Special Envoy for Pacific Island Countries, Quan Bo, was met by Minister for Foreign Affairs and Moresby South MP Justin Chichenko. The two sides had in-depth exchanges of views on bilateral relations, practical cooperation between the two countries, international and regional issues of mutual interest and concerns, among other topics.
A school that has allowed our two countries to get closer through education. And education, as you've stated, is the key to success of any country. This Butuka Academy is something that we both countries can be proud of, especially when we had the recognition and the official opening done by your president in humble area of Kirikira.
The Chinese Special Envoy Quan Bo said that China attaches great importance to developing its relations with Papua New Guinea, and it stands ready to work with PNG to implement the important common understanding reached between leaders of the two countries in enhancing political mutual trust.
It's a great pleasure for me to meet you, Your Honor, and hereby I wish to convey to you the cordial greetings and the best wishes of Foreign Minister Qin Zhang, and you are a very stringent statement in the PNG. You've long stayed committed to promoting the China-PNG friendship, and the Chinese side highly appreciates that.
Minister Chichenko congratulated Quan Bo on his appointment as Special Envoy for Pacific Island Countries Affairs of the Chinese government, and he welcomed Special Envoy Quan Bo and his delegation's first official visit, as he spoke highly of the progress in PNG-China relations and the achievements of bilateral cooperation. Minister Chichenko thanked China for its selfless assistance to PNG over the years. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, students at the Butuka Academy School were encouraged by visiting Chinese envoy to Pacific Island countries and Foreign Affairs Minister Justin Tachenko to study hard and make their education a priority.
The Butuka Academy is fast becoming a top primary school in Port Moresby since opening its doors in the Moresby South Electorate in 2019. Today, the head of the visiting Chinese delegation, Special Envoy to Pacific Island Communities, Quan Bo, spoke on the importance Chinese culture puts into education when addressing students at the Butuka Academy in the main auditorium.
And today, I'm very moved because I was able to see so many smiling faces of the school, and they represent the future of our bilateral relationship. In Chinese culture, education is perhaps the most important sphere of work the society or people need focus on. It can never be overestimated the importance of the role education plays for the future of a nation. Just now I had a very good discussion with the foreign minister, and I also mentioned to the governor that education is so important that we must invest more on education.
Butuka Academy not only has world-class facilities, but the curriculum taught in this education institute among those in the capital city stands out, as Mandarin is taught by teachers. And paid by the Chinese government through the embassy. Minister Chichenko also encouraged the students to learn and get educated in order for education to open their horizons.
We're also very happy with the way the Chinese Mandarin teaching classes are going, the language speaking classes. And I want to say this to you students. Learning Chinese will open many doors for you into the future. It will brighten your horizons. It will give you so much opportunities that you've never had before having a second language like Chinese. It will give you more job opportunities in the future. And it will also broaden your knowledge of the area in Southeast Asia where we live.
Minister Tshchenko aspires to make Putuka Academy the standout school in the nation's capital. And with support from the NCD Governor Pius Parkop, the school is well on its way to becoming an elite institution. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Today, Connected PNG started its week-long summit on technological services and how the country can move forward using new technology. Director Data Center and Specialist for Connected PNG, David Joe, said the event has brought together some of the world's best technology companies from both Australia and New Zealand.
Today's Technology Summit brought together technology services and companies that operate both in-country and overseas to not only showcase their electronic gadgets, services they provide through the use of technology, and the type of services they can offer or provide in the country. The event, hosted by Connected PNG Director and Data Center Specialist David Joe, said the event, hosted yearly, was held off due to COVID-19, and today PNG gets to host the event again.
So what we're having here is the Summit 2022, which is normally a yearly event, but given the COVID situation, we put this one on hold. And now we are planning to resume. So this week we have this Summit 2022 ICT Summit coming up. So this summit is very important for ICT players in the country as well as our citizens in PNG to know what is out there for them and what technology is coming up. We have invited some of the most biggest companies around Australia and New Zealand to come here to participate, just to bring those technologies down to our level so that we have this experience and we know what is coming up, what is around the world, so PNG can be up to that level and standard to know technology.
He said today's event has brought together some of the big names in the country that deals with technology. He said various technology experts that attended the summit were able to liaise and share their ideas, let alone make their services known using the platform provided.
So PNG, in terms of geographical locations and all of that, we mostly need drones to do some of the work. So these are new technologies that is out there in the market. So what we are doing right now is to bring to our local people so that they can get to meet the real people and the technology behind it. Thank you.
Also present today were interested individuals, business houses and students from various universities. This week-long summit will continue this week and end by Friday. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
And to the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2765 $0.4077 Australian dollars, $0.2514 euro, 37.16 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copper closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed higher. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. Illegal drugs and guns have been found by police in a dawn raid in a village in the Drekikea district of the East Sepik province. Rural Police Station Commander for Drekikea, Sergeant Kalinau, said police arrested 2 men who allegedly had in their possession a huge quantity of marijuana and guns last Friday.
Sergeant Kalinau confirmed with MTV News this afternoon that the drugs were neatly packed and believed to be ready for transportation to Vanimo and then to Jayapura in Indonesia. The house police raided was in Musungwil village in Drekikea district. It is understood a third suspect escaped while 2 were caught inside the house with the offensive weapons and drugs. The provincial police commander for the East Sepik province, Superintendent Christopher Tamari, said he was pleased with the police officers under the guidance and leadership of Sergeant Kalinau, who conducted this raid and apprehended the suspects involved. Drugs and gun smuggling in the East Sepik province have been on the rise in recent times. Police, acting upon information gathered from various sources, planned this dawn raid, which resulted in the capture of the suspects and the recovery of the packed drugs and guns which were ready to be transported. The suspects who had been caught are in police custody at Timaprik police station. They will be interrogated and charged. Sergeant Kalinau told MTV News the weapons confiscated included 2 homemade guns and wire catapults. The police boss in the East Sepik province, whilst thanking Sergeant Kalinau and his men for the good job, has also issued a stern warning to the people in the province not to trade in illegal guns and drugs. PPC Tamari said penalties are harsh, including life imprisonment. It is understood 1 suspect is still at large. However, according to Sergeant Kalinau, police already have details of this person and an arrest is expected soon. Lindy Suharupa, National MTV News.
The government, through the Office of the National Office for Child and Family Services, has taken 2 approaches in addressing the issue of increasing number of street children in the country.
A funding of 3 million kina has been allocated to fund the out-of-home care center for children and a nationwide survey on street children to identify the root cause of this serious issue. This statement was made yesterday during the signing ceremony of the Partnership Engagement Agreement with the National Office for Child and Family Services and Save the Children. Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Office for Child and Family Services, Simon Yanis, urged the government to release all the funding as this issue continues to remain a huge challenge.
Start small. We want to see, but government has said, and then government has said so. They will continue to hear. They will continue to hear because it's a population that cannot speak for themselves. So we have to see it and we have to address it through systematically to government so that we can able to strategically give advice to government in terms of this. But the good thing about it is that the office is established by government and now it's only trying its best to address the many issues. And one of the very important issues is the street children.
In the meantime, Country Director for the Save the Children organization, Fiu Williame Igara, highlighted that it is vital for the government to start focusing on children.
And I reminded them that if we gave attention to our children now rather than later, we may not be having this problem. Because I really believe it's that lack of attention to our children from the time that they're born and as they grow, that we have this issue. They've been neglected along the way. Then you look at the issue today and you say, why do we have this problem? But if you look back, it's really a whole time period where you have not really provided the right support, funding, and activities to enable us to have youth that feel like they're appreciated, they're engaged, they have a voice, and they're being heard. And I think this is so important as we look at the youth challenges we face today and ask the question, are we putting enough attention to the children of today. This is the future for us. If you nurture them well, allow them to survive, give them the opportunities of life, basic education and health, protect them from the violence they face daily, you imagine the citizens that we'll have tomorrow. So critical as we think about the future for our children.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Moving to overseas news now, and Tropical Cyclone Kevin is now far to the south of Fiji, but the wild weather continues in the region.
Schools all over Fiji have been directed to close for another day as the country braces for another week of unusually heavy rain. In what has been months of low-pressure systems and even 2 severe cyclones, it will be broken bridges and roads, severe flash flooding as well as landslides that will keep disaster management officials busy. Community leaders and officials are now cleaning up after having been underwater over the weekend. The Pacific is now at its tail end of the traditional cyclone season, which ends in April.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Papua New Guinea Olympic Committee and Papua New Guinea Cancer Foundation are pleased to announce their partnership engagement as program collaboration partners. The parties signed a memorandum of understanding on Wednesday, 1st of March, to signify their joint commitment to provide symbiotic support for respect programs throughout the duration of the 2-year partnership. Representing the party's PNG Olympic Committee Secretary General Alvita Rapila joined PNG Cancer Foundation Executive Manager Priscilla Napoleon at the signing and photo opportunity in the presence of their respective programs officers. Oceania Athletics Association has partnered with Griffith University and the Oceania Australia Foundation to provide a 3-year business degree and athletics scholarship. PNG recipient Adrien Monaghy has been awarded this scholarship and commenced her studies in a Bachelor of Business this week. The 27-year-old first represented PNG on the international stage in the 2011 Commonwealth Youth Games in the Isle of Man in the 100-meter and has since then been a regular member of the PNG athletics team, attending Pacific and Commonwealth Games as well as the 2019 World Championships. She started her competitive career as a heptathlete, but later switched to the 100-meter hurdles and 100-meter as the current Pacific Mini Games 100-meter hurdles champion. The scholarship will provide Adrien with a 3-year stable training environment, something she has always dreamed of. The Magpies have suffered a big injury loss ahead of their 2023 season, with Pat Lepiruski to miss the first half of the season.
The second surgery Lipinski has faced in the past 6 months after the former Bulldog underwent a postseason shoulder reco last October. Meanwhile, Richmond stars Dion Prestia and Jaden Short are both in doubt for their season opener against the Blues on the 16th of March. They both got injured in the same match. Prestia strained his pec against the Melbourne Demons at Casey Fields, and Short has strained his left calf in the same game.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. And in overseas sports, Australian captain Pat Cummins has been ruled out of the team's final test against India.
Cummins returned home after Australia's second Test defeat in Delhi to be close with his family. His mother, Maria, has been placed into palliative care. Steve Smith stepped in as skipper for the third time since Cummins became Test captain back in 2021, and Australia enjoyed a 9-wicket win last week under his leadership. India has already retained the Border Gavaskar Trophy after winning the Delhi Test.
In the Women's A-League, Canberra United has appealed a ruling that will cost the club 3 points and put Sydney FC at the top of the competition.
United have been found guilty of fielding an ineligible player and stripped of the 3 points for their 2-1 win over the Sky Blues on the 11th of February. An investigation by Australian professional leagues found United had used an unauthorised additional substitution by bringing on a fourth substitute when they were only permitted 3. United Chief Executive Ivan Slavic said the club made the sub because of the advice received by the match officials.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby City mostly fine with windy conditions. Popondetta few showers easing, then cloudy periods. In Momase region, Lay City cloudy periods with brief showers. Vanimo showers and possible thunderstorms easing, then cloudy periods. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau cloudy with rain periods and possible thunderstorms. Buka, cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then morning fog. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg, cloudy with some showers, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, the 7th of March, 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.